Every few years, a new technology appears that is supposed to make Visa obsolete. Online shopping was meant to weaken the card networks, smartphones were supposed to replace the physical card, then came digital wallets, instant bank transfers, and stablecoins. Yet Visa has kept getting larger. In fiscal 2025, roughly $17 trillion of payments and cash volume ran across its network, and Visa earns just over $20 billion in net income. It did that without lending the money, issuing most of the cards, or taking the credit losses. Visa looks like a credit card company. It is really a toll road running through global commerce. When you pay with Visa, your bank usually provides the money and carries the credit risk. Its network links the customer's bank, the merchant's bank, and the processors between them. It routes the payment, applies a common set of rules, and helps both sides verify that the transaction is legitimate. Visa does not keep the entire fee paid by the merchant. Much of that goes to the issuing bank and other payment companies. So Visa earns its own revenue from running the network, processing transactions, handling cross-border payments, and selling services such as fraud prevention and tokenization. Visa takes a tiny cut from an enormous volume of spending. Imagine trying to launch a competing payment network. You could charge less, you could build better software, you could make payments faster, but without banks issuing your cards, consumers would not carry them. Without consumers, merchants would not accept them, and without merchants, banks would have no reason to join. A rival does not just need better technology, it needs banks, merchants, and consumers to switch with it. Visa's real asset is not the plastic card then. It is the fact that all three are already using the same network. In 2025, Visa processed about 257.5 billion transactions and generated $40 billion in revenue. The important question is what that next transaction actually costs Visa. Visa still spends heavily on cybersecurity and reliability, but processing more payments does not require another factory, more inventory, or another loan. That operating leverage helped Visa produce an adjusted operating margin of roughly 68% in 2025. It is also why Visa is valued very differently from a traditional bank. A bank must commit more capital to make more loans, while Visa benefits from more spending without owning most of the debt behind it. When Visa went public in 2008, investors already understood part of the attraction. The financial system was entering a credit crisis, banks were recording huge losses. Visa offered exposure to electronic spending without the same balance sheet risk. But its future was not obvious. The company faced major legal disputes. Its brand was tied to a piece of plastic, and nobody knew whether the firm's dominating card payments would still matter once payment technology changed. Well, the technology did change. But instead of displacing Visa, much of that technology created even more opportunities to use its network. Online shopping created more electronic transactions, contactless payments pulled more small purchases away from cash, and digital wallets placed Visa credentials inside phones and watches. The Visa card became less visible, but the network remained underneath. Visa increasingly looked less like a card company and more like infrastructure for the shift from cash to digital payments. Visa did not need to own the screen. It needed to remain underneath the payment. Though that does not make Visa untouchable. The first threat is regulation. Merchants have argued for years that card fees are too high and that Visa and MasterCard have too much control over how payments are routed. Governments and courts can reduce fees, change network rules, or make it easier for merchants to use competing providers. But the larger threat is not another card network. It is a payment system that bypasses card networks altogether. India's UPI and Brazil's Pix allow money to move directly between bank accounts. Stablecoins could create another route, particularly across borders. If these alternatives become cheap, easy, and widely accepted, some payments may no longer need Visa, but Visa is responding through account-to-account payments, open banking, and stablecoins. trying to stay inside the transaction even when it does not start with the Visa card. So the question, as we have discussed, is no longer whether plastic cards disappear. It is whether Visa remains essential after they do. What we have discussed today shows why investors are willing to pay a premium for Visa, but a premium valuation is also a bet that those advantages will last. If regulation reduces the value of the network, if cheaper systems take a meaningful share of payments, or if payment growth slows, Visa could remain a great company while delivering a disappointing return. Business quality and investment quality, hence, are not the same thing. When analyzing a premium company, ask these 3 questions. Why are the margins so high? Does the advantage become stronger as the company grows? And what could allow customers to bypass it? For Visa, the competitive advantage was never really the card. It was a position between billions of consumers, millions of merchants, and thousands of financial institutions. As long as that position remains difficult to displace, Visa can keep taking a small cut from a very large share of global commerce. That is why a company that barely lends money can be worth more than many of the banks that do.